We begin today the Gemara at the bottom of Daf Dalet Amud Beis, 4 lines from the bottom of the Amud. We're holding where it says Nazir. So what we learned before is that there's a difference between a person that accepts upon himself Nazirus forever and a person that accepts upon himself Nazirus like Shimshon. If you accept upon yourself Nazirus forever, so then once in a while you're able to cut your hair to lighten the load, the heavy hair. That's different than Nazir Shimshon, that you're not allowed to do that. So the Gemara here will discuss and bring the source of this halacha of a Nazir Olam that's allowed to lighten his hair every once in a while. So the Gemara, Nazir Olam, where is the source of this halacha? That a person that's a Nazir forever, that he's allowed to lighten his hair. Tanya, we learned in Abraisa. Rabbi said, Avshalom Nazir Olam Haya. Avshalom was a Nazir, the son of David HaMelech. Avshalom. So he was a Nazir forever. Shana, there's a pasuk that says, Vayihi miketz arbaim shana. Came to the end of the 40 years. The Gemara will soon say what these 40 years are referring to. Avshalom tells his father David, let me go and bring my karbonis, a neder, a carbon for a neder, asher nadarti l'Hashem b'chevron. And this will be done in Chevron. So this neder that he's referring to, which neder do you have to bring a carbon for? Nazirus. A Nazir, when he cuts his hair, he brings karbonis. So what's this pasuk telling us? That Avshalom was a Nazir forever, and every once in a while he would cut his hair to lighten the hair. And when you cut the hair, you have to first bring karbonis. Okay, so that from here we see this idea that he was cutting his hair in this time period that he was a Nazir forever. And Rabbi continues, he would cut his hair, he would lighten his hair once in 12 months. Shanema, there's a pasuk there previously that says, Vayihi miketz yamim liyamim, and it would come to the period of yamim. After that period of yamim, he would cut his hair. Now, how long is the period of yamim? V'yalef yamim mibati yarichayme. We learn out the term of yamim that it says here regarding Avshalom from the term yamim that it says from those houses that are sold in a city in Eretz Yisrael that have a wall surrounding them. What does the term yamim there mean? So over there it says that the person that sells this house, so he could redeem that city, he could redeem that house in that city for yamim. Right? The actual lashon of the pasuk over there is Atayim shnas mimkara yamim tiyagulasai. Until the end of yamim, he has a year to redeem his house that he sold. So over there, the term yamim means a year. So ma hasam yud beis chaydish, just like there, the term yamim means 12 months. Afkan yud beis chaydish. Here as well, when it says that Avshalom cut his hair once when yamim came, that means once in 12 months. That's the first opinion here in the Braisa. Rabbi Neroya says Megaleach achas l'lamed yai. He would cut his hair once in 30 days, and the Gemara soon will bring the source for this. Rabbi Yossi says Megaleach me'erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. He would cut his hair once a week, every erev Shabbos. And the Gemara will bring this here. The Gemara says Shekei matzino b'bnei melachim shemegalchem erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. This is the behavior. This is the minig of the princes that they cut their hair once every erev Shabbos. So Avshalom also, once it came a full week, so the hair was already it was too heavy for him, so to speak. It was so he would cut his hair erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos. Okay, so we have all these opinions here. When exactly a Nazir Olam is allowed to lighten and cut his hair? The Gemara will bring the source and explain all this. Zak the Gemara, my time with the Rebbe. So what's the source of Rebbe's opinion? So as we said, Yalef mibate yarichayma. He's learning out Gzeir Shave, the term Yamim that it says by Avshalom, from the term Yamim that it says by a person selling a house in a city with a wall. Frek the Gemara, but Vaha Rebbe Huda Amar. It's actually Rebbe himself that said. Ein yamim chuse mishnayim, that when it uses the term yamim there in the pasuk regarding a person selling his house, it doesn't mean less than 2. And how does Rebbe translate that pasuk there? So the way Rebbe translates the Gemara in Erechin, and Rebbe translate that pasuk to mean that when you could redeem your house for a full year, that's only after 2 days. You have to wait 2 days after you sold the house. Only then could you redeem it. And the way to read the pasuk is Atayim shnas mimkarai. By the end of the year, till the end of the year, you could redeem it. But yamim tiyagulasai. But first, you have to wait 2 days in order to redeem it. So we're learning out the term yamim here from the term yamim that it says there. If so, we should learn out that after 2 days you can cut the hair, just like Rabbi himself said. So the Gemara answers, no, that can't be the Gzeir Shave. Hi Gzeir Shave. Here, we're learning out to explain the term yomim. It says, Ba'avshalom mishum kovid gomer. We're learning it out regarding the fact that the hair becomes so heavy, and you can cut it. Or b'shnei yomim leka kovid. After 2 days, the hair is not heavy, that you could say that you can cut it. So therefore, it must mean that we're learning out the yomim here to the yomim of that pasuk, and in that pasuk of yomim, it says that you redeem the house after a year. That's really what the Gzeira Shava is learning out from what it says in that pasuk, that it's a full year. Maybe the term yomim here we should learn out from another place where yomim means 2 years. The pasuk says, so here it uses the term yomim, and what does it mean? After 2 years. So maybe only after 2 years this Nazir can cut his hair. And says the Gemara, Donin yomim she'eni ma'am shanim. We're comparing the 2 words of yomim both in places where it does not say the term shnasayim. It doesn't mention years there. So we're comparing yomim here to the yomim by a house, and not from the yomim that it says by paray, because there it also uses the term shnasayim. It talks about years, so it's different. Maybe yomim means 30 days. There's another place where it says in the Torah the word yomim. The pasuk says at chodesh yomim. Here it uses the term yomim, and it says that yomim is how long? A month. So again, the Gemara answers similar. Don in yomim she'eni ma'am chadashim, yomim she'eni ma'am chadashim. We're making a Gzeira Shava and comparing the terminology of yomim, 2 places where it does not mention the term chodesh. And when not the Gzeira Shava is not from this place where it says chodesh yomim, that's different. It's not exactly the same. Maybe I learn out from the following pasuk where it says miyomim yomima. So in that pasuk it says miyomim yomima telachna b'nois Yisrael l'sanes beis Yiftach hagoladi, that the daughters of the Yidden, so they went to Yiftach, and what does it say in the continuation of that pasuk? How often did they go? Arbas yomim bashana, 4 times in the year. So what does that mean? If it's 4 times in the year and you split that equally, that would mean that they went once in 3 months. So over there, the term yomim yamima means once in 3 months. So we should say maybe here as well that the Nazir is allowed to cut his hair once in 3 months. Answers the Gemara, donin yomim mi yomim. Again, a similar answer. We learn out the term yomim that it says here from the term yomim that it says by the house. Vein donin yomim mi yamima. We don't learn out the term yomim that it says here from the term that it says there, where since it writes there yamima. Why are we being so particular regarding the 2 words that are used in Gzeira Shava, that we're only learning out 2 words that are exactly the same? And over here, we don't want to learn out yomim from yamima, because yamima is not exactly the same. What we find, Rabbi Shmuel taught the following Gzeira Shava. It says by a nega in a house, v'shava kohen, that the kohen returns, and it says also uva kohen, that the kohen comes. And he compares, and he says as Gzeira Shava to compare the 2. Zuhi shiva, zuhi bia. The halacha of what a kohen does to the house when he returns to the house is the same as the halacha of what he does with the nega the first time that he comes to the house. Just like the first time he comes, the pasuk describes, he has to take out the nega, and so on. So too the second time. So what do we see here? You have a Gzeira Shava of 2 words that are not even exactly the same at all. Shiva and bia. Because they both mean coming to the nega, we compare them. So why are we being so particular here regarding the 2 words that we're using for the Gzeira Shava, yomim and yomim? So the Gemara answers, Hanimili, when do I say that I could learn out these 2 words that are not the same? When you don't have 2 words that are exactly the same. So then that's the Kabbalah halacha l'Moshe Sinai, that we learn out these 2 words, even though they're not exactly the same. Aval, but if you do have 2 words that are exactly the same, so then medidamila yalfinan. You learn out from the 2 words that are exactly the same. In other words, they had a halacha l'Moshe Sinai, that there's a Gzeira Shava for 2 words, for the words yomim. So they didn't know exactly which yomim to learn it out from. So why would we learn it out from a term yomima or any other term that's not exactly the same? If they had a halacha l'Moshe Sinai that it's for the word yomim, we're going to put it on the word yomim, which is precisely the same word. And what it says, Ikhe de Amri, or another girsa here is, Ibai Seime, another explanation why we don't learn out from that pasuk the Gemara brought before, Yomim Yamima. What did it say in that pasuk? Yomim Yamima, over there it said that 4 times a year they went to visit Yiftach. So the Gemara wanted to say before that from there we could learn out if it's 4 times a year, that means once every 3 months. But now the Gemara says we actually don't know how to divide the days that they went in the year. Because Minoya Dinon, from how do you know the Chol Klasa Yarchen? that it means to say that we split those days in the year equally, that once every 3 months they went to visit Yiftach. Chad Zimna, that each 3 months they went once to visit Yiftach. Perhaps it wasn't the days that they went to visit is not distributed equally. Maybe I say Abba Zimni Bishata, that they went 4 times a year, but how was it divided? The days of the year are divided as follows. Maybe Abba Yarchen Chad Zimna. Maybe one time it was only after 4 months in the year, and then Trein Yarchen B'Chad Zimna, and then the rest of the time they went after 2 months in the year. Instead of saying that they went once every 3 months and we divided equally, maybe it's not divided equally. It just says in the pasuk they went 4 times a year, but it's not clear how to divide those 4 times of the year. So the point the Gemara is saying is, you can't learn out from that pasuk regarding the length of time of what Yomim means, since the pasuk itself doesn't spell it out exactly how to divide these days in the year. So what do we know from there? That's why we don't make the Gzei Shavar from that pasuk. Okay, this is the explanation of Rebbe's opinion, that we learn out Yomim from where? From Yomim by a house that's sold, that's after a year. Rabbi Neiroi says, Megaleach achas l'shloishim yom, that this Nazir Olam could lighten his hair once in 30 days. My time, what's his reason, what's his source? Gabi Kainim, you find by the Kainim as well, a Kain Hedyet. How often does a Kain Hedyet have to take a haircut? Mishum de Ikke Kaivit, because when his hair becomes too heavy, it's after 30 days that a Kain Hedyet is supposed to take a haircut. So Achanami Ikke Kaivit. Over here as well, we learn out that after 30 days, the hair becomes heavy and he could take a haircut. So we're learning out Dafka from Kainim. The next Mishnah we're going to learn will be, it says there that every Stam Naziris that a person accepts upon himself is 30 days. So why according to Rab Neiroi, you don't need any additional limud from anywhere. By Naziris itself, Stam Naziris is 30 days. And actually the fact that by a Kayin, he takes a haircut once every 30 days is learned from this, that Stam Naziris is 30 days. So why is the Gemara here learning out Dafka from a Kayin? So the Rosh explains, because you can't learn out from Stam Naziris. Stam Naziris is when your Naziris is up, when your Naziris ends. So then, after those 30 days, you cut your hair. Over here, we're trying to learn out for a Nazir Olam. A Nazir Olam means you're a Nazir forever. And still, after 30 days, you're allowed to cut your hair. That you could only learn out from a Kayin, because a Kayin is a similar thing. This Kayin is a Kayin forever. And even though he's a Kayin forever, nevertheless, we say that at the 30 days is a time period that he has to cut his hair. That's the source for Rab Neiroi. The next opinion the Gemara brings, Rabbi Yosi Aimer. Rabbi Yosi says, Megaleach me'erev Shabbos le'erev Shabbos, that he takes a haircut once every erev Shabbos, similar to the princes b'chlal. Every prince will take a haircut once every erev Shabbos. So if so, my ikke beinei l'shar achui. So what's the difference between him and his brothers? If Avshalom was taking a haircut once a week, he's the same like anybody else, the same like his brothers that also were taking a haircut once a week. So there's no difference between him as a Nazir and his brothers. And so again, the Rosh points out that there is an obvious difference. When he took a haircut, he had to first bring a bunch of karbanis because he was a Nazir. His brothers could just take a haircut. But nevertheless, the Gemara understands that there has to be also a difference regarding the actual timing of the haircut as well. The whole idea of a Nazir is that he allows his hair to grow longer than everyone else. So then what is the difference between him and the other brothers, the princes, that take haircuts every Erev Shabbos? So the one answer is it could be a difference in the following 2 instances. Number one, Yontif Shechali is Be'emtza Shabbos. If you have Yom Tov that falls out in the middle of the week, Ta'achui Megalchen. So the brothers also took a haircut out of Yom Tov, l'kavod the Yom Tov. But who le megaleach? But Avshalom, because he was a Nazir, only took a haircut once a week on Erev Shabbos, and on Erev Yom Tov he did not take a haircut. That's one instance. Another point is b'chlal regarding every week. Inami legeluchi min safra d'mayle Shabbata. The difference is whether to take a haircut in the morning of Erev Shabbos, achui megalchen. That's when his brothers took a haircut. But Iu Avshalom le megaleach at panya. He didn't take a haircut only until later in the day. Since Avshalom had to bring karbanis first, that's the halacha. When this Nazir Olam has to take a haircut, he brings the karbanis first. So therefore, he only took a haircut later in the day. Okay, so maybe those few hours of the day, his hair grew a drop longer than his brothers. Right? So the kavod that we're talking about here, according to this opinion, the fact that your hair becomes heavy and you're allowed to take a haircut is just those few hours of a difference. Okay, the Gemara now explains a detail regarding Avshalom that was mentioned before. Hani arboim shana ma'evedetayu. When it says here that after 40 years, Avshalom was telling his father, I'm going to Chevron, this was actually already in the time period that Avshalom was rebelling against his father. So, but what were these 40 years? 40 years from what? Rav Nerai explained, Mishum Rabbi Shua, and the name of Rabbi Shua. Lekates mem shana. This is at the end of 40 years. Sheshalu lahen melech. When the Yidden asked for a king. And this refers to when Yidden asked for a king by Shmuel HaNavi. Before Shaul HaMelech was king, there was no king. You didn't have king for many, many years, right? From when they came into Eretz Yisrael, there was no king. And then the Yidden approached Shmuel and asked for a king. And Shmuel appointed Shaul HaMelech to become a king, and then David became a king. And now, this is 40 years since that time. And Tana, we learned in the Braisa, Oisa Shana Sheshaul HaMelech, that time period, when Yidden asked for a king, Hishnas Eser Shmuel Haramasi. That was the 10th year of Shmuel being a Navi, so that's when they asked for a king. And if you make the cheshbon from that time period in Shmuel's life until now, when Avshalom came here and was mounting his rebellion against his father, it was 40 years.
So then maybe 40 years later he took a haircut.
No, but it doesn't mean that though, because it says before in the pasuk Vayihim Kates Yom. Only reason that he's telling this to his father now, and he made a whole to-do from the fact that he's going to cut his hair and bring karbanis, because he wanted to attract a bunch of attention to himself, that he's going to Chevron, he's going to build a Mizbeach and bring karbanis. It was all part of his rebellion against his father. It says in the Mefarshim, maybe even the Rishonim here say it, that the reason why Taket's mentioning the 40 years is because the fact that Avshalom rebelled against his father is connected to this, that the Yidden asked for a king in the time of Shmuel HaNavi. Because there's another Gemara in Sanhedrin where it says, when Yidden asked for a king in the time of Shmuel HaNavi, and then the Eibishter was upset at them. Actually, it's in the Psukim over there, and then Shmuel, the Eibishter was upset. Why are you asking for a king? The Eibishter says, I am your king. What do you need another king for? You're rebelling against the Eibishter. Right? And it's explained in a Sikha Bariches. The Rebbe explains what this means, even though there's a mitzvah that Yidden are supposed to appoint a king. But nevertheless, Shmuel thought that the Yidden are on a much higher level, and they don't need the king on this level that they wanted it for. And now, this rebellion of Avshalom is connected to that Yeridah that Yidden had in that time period, 40 years earlier in the time of Shmuel. Sagt Heilige Mishnah. Well, according to this opinion here, according to Rabbi Yossi, it's a very slight difference. Yeah, it's a very small difference. Yeah, that's what it says here. Okay, you can be a Nazir, but if you be a Nazir forever, so you can take haircut often enough. Yeah, a bunch of karbanis, very expensive. Okay, Sagt the Mishnah, Stam Naziris Lamed Yom. Person accepts upon himself Naziris with no set time period. He just says, I'll be a Nazir. So how long is that? 30 days. Talk to Gemara, Minon, Amili, what's the source for this? Amar Rav Masna, Makra, Rav Masna says, the pasuk says, Kodesh Yiyeh, that he will be holy. So what does the term Yiyeh mean? Yiyeh begematria tlosen have. The word Yiyeh is the numerical value, it's the gematria of 30. That's the source. Actually, the Rosh over here says that really this is a halacha l'Moshe Misinai, because the Gemara will not say a halacha just based on a gematria. That's at least what the Rosh says. And the Gemara is just bringing a remes in the pasuk, an asmachta, that we see the 30 days. Bar Pada says, Keneged, the 30 days is corresponding to Nazir, Nizrai, the expressions of Nazir and Nizrai, Ho'amurim b'Teirah, that it says in the Teirah, Lamed Chaser Achas. It says these expressions of Nazir and Nizrai 30 minus 1 times, 29 times in the Teirah. Okay, so the Gemara will soon discuss where if it's 29 times, so it's missing 1 day. What happened over here? Okay, but it's the fact that the Torah writes so many times these expressions of Nazir and Nizrai, that's the source that Stam Nazir is 30 days. So the Gemara explains, Rav Masna Nami, according to Rav Masna as well, Neilev min Nazir Nizrai. Why does he not learn out from this, from the fact that the Torah writes these expressions of Nazir and Nizrai all these times? Amalach, I'll answer you, Hahu Lidrasha. These times, some of those times, when the Torah writes these terms of Nazir and Nizrai, it's being written for a drasha. I can't use it for this number here for 30 days. And for example, this is the drasha we already had before in the Gemara, when it says Miyayin v'shecha yazir, an extra pasuk. What is the term? Why is the Torah writing this pasuk? So the Gemara explained already. Lesser yayin mitzvah keyayin rishus. It's coming to say, accept naziris upon yourself. You're not allowed to drink wine, even if it's a mitzvah to drink the wine, just like you're not allowed to drink any wine that's permissible. The Gemara explained before already. This means when a person took a shvuah to drink this wine. So that's the term yazir here. So it's not extra; it's a drasha. Similar, when the pasuk says Kiyafli Linde Neden Nazala Hazir, what is this extra pasuk teaching me? Melamed Sha'anizira Chola al Naziris. What this teaches is when a person took upon himself one Naziris and then he takes upon himself a Naziris again, the second Naziris takes effect on the first Naziris. So we see that this idea of these psukim are coming for a certain drasha. It's not extra words that I could say that it's being used for this number of 30.
Nazir means you're adding or you're including.
Take upon himself a second Naziris.
When a person, it's included in the first one or it's after the first one?
He's going to have to.
Over here?
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll see. The Gemara will discuss that. Okay, there's a discussion about that in the Gemara. Okay, now Bar Pada Malach. Bar Pada tells you, how could he learn out from all of these times that it says in the Torah, Nazir and Nizrai? If, as Rav Masna points out, they're not even all extra. So you don't have enough. You don't have 29 that are extra. So Pada will tell you, from all these extra times that you have in the Torah where it writes these terms of Nazir and Nizrai, you don't have any of them that are not used for a drasha, that are not extra. Elo, so therefore he says, Midahu liminyana. So therefore, since there are some of them that are extra, and I use them just to teach me the number of how many days a stam naziris is, kulanam liminyana. So therefore, even those that we do use for a drasha, but we combine them to the other nizrais that are nazir, that are extra, to learn out from here the number of how long the stam naziris lasts. Okay, so we have a machlaikas over here.
They connect them all together?
Correct. We learn out from all of them the number of the naziris. So we have a machlaikas here. What's the source? Rav Masna says it's from Yiyah. Yiyah is 30. And Bar Pada says that it's from the 29 times that it says the term Nizrai in the Torah, or Nazir and Nizrai. So now the Gemara will ask on this, Tanan, what does it say in the Mishnah? Stam Naziris Shloishim Yom. Stam Naziris is 30 days. So why is it 30 days? Bishloim le Rav Masna Nicha. According to Rav Masna, we understand what the Mishnah says. It's 30 days because it says, yeah, that's the remes for 30. El Bar Pada, but according to Bar Pada, Kashya, why is it 30 days? It should be 29 days. Amalach Bar Pada, so Bar Pada will answer you, Aidi de Ikke, Yoim Tlasin de Megaleach, Omevi Karbanaisav. So really, you're right, the Naziris is full 29 days. But then when the 29 days are over, on the next day, on the 30th day, that's when he cuts his hair and brings his karbanis for the conclusion of his Naziris. So Mishamachi Tana Shleishim. That's why it says in the Mishnah 30 days. The Mishnah did not mean that the actual Naziris is 30 days. The Naziris is 29 days. And then on the following day is when he does all the things that are the conclusion of his Naziris. Huh?
If he's waiting for the 30th, it's the mix of Yain Pekulish.
Oh, okay, one second. So we're going to see soon. The Gemara is going to bring up that svara. Let's see. Now the Gemara brings from another Mishnah later that speaks about this. Tanan, there's a Mishnah later here in the Masechta that says, Mi sha'amar areini nazir. Person says, I'll be a nazir. So when exactly is the conclusion of your naziris? So it says there, Megaleyach yom shleishim ve'echad. So you cut your hair on the 31st day. So this is clear that it has to be 30 full days, and then on the 31st day you cut your hair. So according to Rav Masna that says that the Naziris is full 30 days, we understand why he has to wait until the 31st day to cut his hair. But according to Bar Pada, we just explained that the Naziris is 29 days. On the 30th day he cuts his hair. Kashya, so that Mishnah there is a question. Oh, Malach Bar Pada will answer you. Let's look further what it says in that Mishnah itself. Aim is Seifa. What does it say in the Seifa of that Mishnah? Im Gilach L'Yayim Shloishim. If a Stam Nazir cut his hair on the 30th day itself, Yatza, he will be Yaitza. So the question is, how could he be Yaitza? If it's the 30th day is still considered to be part of the day of his Naziris, how could he be Yaitza if he cuts his hair on the 30th day? So this proves the point that Bar Pada said, that really the Naziris is only 29 days, and therefore he could cut his hair on the 30th day. So the Gemara says, so we have a problem here now. Elo, so if so, Seife Misayeyale. So really, from the Seif of the Mishnah, we have a raya to Bar Pada, that the Naziris is only 29 days, and therefore he can cut his hair on the 30th day. What do we do with the Reisha of that Mishnah? Why does the Reisha say there that he should wait until the 31st day? So the Gemara explains, Reisha nase ka'omer shleimen. The Reisha of the Mishnah, what it's saying is that the fact that you wait till the 31st day is only a gzeira midrabanan. Minat Torah, it's like it says in the Sefer. If you went ahead and cut your hair on the 30th day, it's good, because really Minat Torah, the Naziris is only 29 days. What the Reisha of the Mishnah is saying is, Chachamim made a gzeira, and the gzeira, the way that Rashi explains it, is as follows. Since when a person accepts Stam Naziris, many times a person says clearly that the Stam Naziris is 30 for 30 days, so therefore Chachamim said that any time a person accepts upon himself a Stam Nazirus, the Stam Nazirus should be for 30 days, and therefore the Giluach Midrabanan will be on the 31st day. So the Reish of the Mishnah is Exerim Rabbanan, and the Seif of the Mishnah is telling you that Minat Teireh, if you did the Giluach on the 30th day, it'll be good, because Minat Teireh, the Naziris, is only 29 days. So this is the explanation of that Mishnah according to Bar Pada. So now the Gemara asks, but according to this, well, Rav Masna Kashya Seif, but according to Rav Masna that says that Minat Teireh, the Naziris has to be for full 30 days, seemingly. So the Seif of the Mishnah that says that if he is cutting his hair on the 30th day itself, then it's good. So that's a question on his opinion. How could he do the Giluach on the 30th day itself? Answers the Gemara Kasava. Rav Masna holds Mikza Sayayim Kakulai, that when you have part of the 30th day that's counted like the full 30th day, and therefore he's already done his Naziris for 30 days, and you can cut your hair in part of the day. Mikza Sayayim Kakula. It's a concept you have in many places. Either it means that part of the day is counted like you already did it the full day, or part of the day is good enough. Either way, the pshat over here is that we see here another machlekes between Rav Masna and Bar Pada, whether we accept this concept of Mikza Sayayim Kakulai regarding Naziris. Okay, so another point that it comes out of here is that the conclusion of the Gemara is that both Bar Pada and Rav Masna agree that the Naziris, Stam Naziris, is for 30 days. Only difference is Rav Masna says that that's Minat Teireh, and Bar Pada says that it's not Minat Teireh, it's only Exerim Rabbanan, and therefore there'll be an afgemina regarding this Naziris on the 30th day. If a person becomes Tomei on that 30th day, whether it nullifies his whole Naziris. According to Bar Pada, really, he's not a Nazir anymore. It's just Exerim Rabbanan. According to Rav Masna, he still is a Nazir Minat Teireh, and therefore will nullify his entire Naziris. So the Gemara Tanan, it said later in the Mishnah, Hareni Nazir Shleishim Yaim. If a person took upon himself and he specified clearly that he's going to be a Nazir for 30 days. In Gilach Yaim Lamed, if a person then cut his hair on the 30th day, Lo Yatza, he's not Yaitza. Why? Because he said clearly 30 days. So now this is a question on Rav Masna. In some Girsis, it adds here into the Gemara clearly. If you see, look over here, in some Gemaras they bring it in over here. Bishloimil bar Pada niche el Rav Masna kashya. Why is this a question on Rav Masna? Because as I said, it comes out of machlokes between Bar Pada and Rav Masna whether we apply the concept of Mikza Sayayim Kakulai. So according to Bar Pada, that says that we don't use the concept of Mikza Sayayim Kakulai. So if he accepted upon himself to be a Nazir for 30 days, so he can't cut his hair at the end of the 30th day. He has to wait until the 31st. It has to be 30 full days. But according to Rav Masna, that says by Stam Naziris, which is 30 days, but nevertheless, Mikza Sayayim Kakulai applies there, so the same thing should be even when the person says clearly, Shleishim Yaim, that I should say Mikza Sayayim Kakulai, and the Giluach on the 30th day itself should be acceptable. And for the Gemara, according to Rav Masna, we have to say, Ba'omer Shleimin. That Mishnah is in a case where the person specified when he accepted the Naziris for 30 days, that it's going to be 30 full days. If he says Shleimin, 30 full days, so then even Rav Masna agrees, we don't apply the inyan of Mikza Sayayim Kakulai in this case.